Hi YouTube, I want to welcome you to my new channel, 13 Motorsports. My name is Sky and I am a professional automotive service technician if you like fancy words, or I'm a mechanic if you don't. I fix cars for a living. But that's what I do. My true passion is what you see here, metal fabrication, more specifically motorcycle builds. Motorcycles are a huge part of my life and I love them very much, and so most of what you're going to see on this channel will be me working with motorcycles, building them, trying to change them into something unique. And my goal and my focus here is to show you guys how you can also do this sort of thing. It doesn't matter where you're at in life, what sort of tools you have available to you. The important thing is to jump in there, make sure you're doing it right and in a safe manner, but at the same time, come up with something cool, come up with something unique, something that's yours and that you can roll around out there and show people, hey look, this is my deal, this is who I'm about, this is what I love to do. And really, again, that's the focus of this channel. So I hope you'll join me on that ride. All right guys, so I want to give you a quick tour of what I affectionately call my shop here. It's just my small garage, but it's where I do all my work from. So first up, you can see this is the engine here out of my cafe project that you just saw in the intro. I've got some work that I need to do this. Actually, one of the first episodes you're going to see is I've got a few of the exhaust studs broken off, or the bolts broken off in the head, and I'm needing to remove those bolts. So that's probably gonna be one of the first things that you see. Then I've got my motorcycle lift itself. I love that thing. It's really helpful, really usable. The bike itself, if you want to get some information on that, it is a 1980 Suzuki GS 850G. It's a shaft-driven bike, and in my opinion, as all these bikes are, fairly hideous in the stock form. So I usually can't wait to tear those things up. The tank on there is from a different model GS. The front forks are from a Suzuki GSXR 750, I believe. Anyway, it's all getting changed up. I'll show you how all that stuff works a little later on. I'm keeping the wheels on there because it is a shaft drive. As you can see, I'm converting the rear to a monoshock. I happen to love the monoshock design. I've used that several times. I'll get more in depth about that later on. Over here under the cover there, I'll show you guys that a little bit later. That's my 2005 ZX-10R. I accidentally laid it down at a track day last year, and instead of rebuilding it to stock form, I'm going to go ahead and change it up like I always do, make it a little something different, a little more special. So the channel is called 13 Motorsports, so that would include more than one, right? Well, the big project in my garage and what takes up the most room, let's see if I can get a shot of it here for you. This is my 1942 1.5 ton Chevy truck. Now, this is my big project. It's the long-termer. You will see updates on this from time to time. I've kind of stepped away from it for a bit to work on the motorcycle thing again, but I will definitely be getting back to this because I will be hoping to finish, well, not finish, but at least get this thing running and driving in the course of the next year. So, show you a little bit of info, a little bit of stuff on it. What's it got in it? It's a Chevy Big Block. It's a 408. Should be nice and loud. Built my own front suspension for it. It's independent front suspension. Built the A-arms, built the spindles, built everything. It's bagged front and rear. I'm trying to use the original wheels and tires on it. Give it kind of a crazy Hot Wheels look with the oversized wheels. As you can see, it drops down pretty low. I'll show you some of the back end here. So in the back, built the step in the frame, about 11 inches. Steps up, 4-link the rear, full bags, panhard bar, everything. It's you can see it's just got a temporary ball valve hooked up so you can raise it up and lower it down. I've got the old style friction shocks on there. Don't know if they'll actually be useful for anything, but I just thought they looked cool, so I wanted to use those. The bed itself is actually from a 67 or 68 Chevy truck. I took 14 inches out of the middle of it to shorten it up so it fit between the tires. And obviously it's still got a fair amount of work to go. The biggest thing when people see this truck, they say, oh, you're building a rat rod. And I don't know, it's really just a matter of semantics, but I dislike the term rat rod because in my mind, rat rod has become synonymous with really poor fabrication and stuff that's done in a very sketchy way and flat out unsafe to drive. That's not my style. That's not what I do. I try to do things in a nice way. Yeah, the body may not be fancy and it may not be pretty and perfect, but it's still a hot rod in the sense that it's done well. It's going to be loud and look cool. I mean, that's essentially what I'm building it for. And so while I don't consider it myself to be a rat rod, most people do. So take that for what you will. All right, so we'll cruise on over here to what I affectionately call my fabrication side. So we've got stand-up press, drill press. I've got my little Hypertherm plasma cutter. It's small, but it does the job really well, actually. It will do about up to 1/4 inch thick without any trouble. Works fantastic for that. Miller Econotig welder. It's an old one as well, but it's been very reliable for me throughout the years. That's some of the things I'll be showing you some tips and tricks on, is some TIG welding technique. Got my fab table here, the vise, air compressor underneath there, metal bin. Then I've got oldie but goodie Harbor Freight bandsaw. So this thing is probably about 8 or 9 years old, and I have built several bikes with this thing. It is still trucking along, still getting it done. I just generally try to keep a decent blade in there, but other than that, it works fantastic. Bench grinder, more Harbor Freight stuff, a bead roller. Haven't used that very much. It's okay. Craftsman Lathe. This thing is also quite old, and if I was being good, I would probably rebuild the thing and make it nice, but it works well enough for what I do, which is generally like bushings and that sort of thing. Works good enough for that. Shop vac, 2-ton jack stands, engine stand, and then over here I have my Lincoln MIG welder as well. So I've got both the TIG welder over there and the MIG welder. People often ask, they say, which is better, TIG or MIG? Well, that's not really a question. They both do the exact same thing, they just do it in slightly different ways. So one's better for one situation, the other is better for another. In fact, if you take this cross member here, for instance, so think about this. If you're welding that cross member all the way around, you'd really just want to use a MIG, which is what I ended up using on that, because you just want to get it done. You just want to get the thing welded, right? Well, a TIG would take you absolutely forever to do that same work. And it wouldn't be, it would probably be prettier, but unless you're doing a show quality thing where they're going to look at that sort of thing, it's really not critical in any way. They both get the job done. Now, on my bikes, what I like to do, because a lot of the welds are going to be a little bit more visible there, I'll tend to use a TIG on that. Try to get them a little cleaner, a little bit neater. There's a lot less cleanup for sure, so you don't have to worry about that so much. But I prefer a TIG on the motorcycle projects. But something big like this with the truck, MIG is plenty fine, not an issue, especially like this pedestal I had to build for the 4-link going across the pinion. MIG absolutely on that. If I were to take that, I would be there for a week doing that. It's just kind of a waste. So over here, I have my little Craftsman Toolbox set up. One of the big pains of doing this is knowing that at work I have a really nice box filled with all sorts of great tools, and then I have to come home and use these tools at home. It really is kind of frustrating sometimes, but whatever. So shelf full of parts. The top shelf there is mainly full of parts for my Street Fighter build, and then some more motorcycle parts, and then all the rest is all truck parts. If you notice, those are actually the drum brakes, the big shoes from this truck. I am retaining the stock drum brakes all the way around on this thing. I just thought they looked too cool to pass up. They're very neat looking. They're 18-inch drum brakes in the back, 15s in the front. So I don't know if they'll actually be effective as brakes, but it should be a lot of fun. Anyway, that's a tour. All right, guys, so that's the intro to the channel, 13 Motorsports. That's pretty much what you're going to be seeing here. Mainly a lot of metal fabrication stuff, some mechanical related stuff, but also as you know, when springtime, summertime rolls around, I'm going to be trying doing some more moto vlogging, and also I have a couple of track days I'm hoping to get to this year. Maybe some other things sprinkled in as well. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like what you've seen so far? Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and let me know in the comments, what sort of things would you like to see more of? Do you want to see something more fabrication related? Do you want to see something more mechanical related, some how-to tips and tricks? Do you want to see more of the motorcycle project, or would you rather see more of the truck project? Either way, just let me know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.